Hello, I'm Scott Bogey. I did an interview with Rory Evans. Enjoy. Here with Rory Evans ahead of his fight against Keir Harvey. How are you doing today?
All good, brother. All good.
And obviously, this fight is on September the 7th, which is only a couple of weeks away. How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I'm excited, mate. It's just mad how fast the time goes. It was 12 weeks ago, like yesterday. It feels like doing all of a sudden, bang, it's 2 weeks away. So yeah, I'm excited to get it done.
And obviously, your last fight was, I think it was June, I think it was, against Taku Mahandu. How
Yeah,
was
that's the one. Yeah,
how was that fight? It was a second round stoppage, got you back in the win column. How did you feel that fight went?
yeah, it was great. It was a tough, tricky opponent. Really tall for the weight, long for the weight, and a good striker as well. So it was an interesting fight to go into, and obviously I felt got through the kind of range the first couple of minutes. Once I got over him, I realized my grappling was going to be too much. And then once I got him down early in the second round, and the TKO came, I just felt he was going to come. As soon as I got over him, I realized I was going to be too much for him.
And how was it dealing with that crowd in Dublin? Because while I was there, it was clear that Tackle was the home crowd favourite. How was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
coming into that enemy territory?
I got to be honest, it wasn't too bad. Obviously, I could feel the energy for Taka as he walked out, and you heard the crowd shouting, but like, you're so zoned in on the fight. You're about to, fight another man, so you're kind of like you're not really taking much in. So it's kind of like, I didn't find it too bad. Um, and then the biggest thing I felt was when I got the finish and the crowd just went silent. Then I realized, like, oh, hang on a minute, I am in enemy territory here, like.
And
But
do you,
apart from that, it just felt like a normal fight.
and do you feel like that what makes you okay with taking these fights? Obviously, Kier is from Scotland. This fight's in Glasgow. Is you're just seeing it as you're just fighting another man in that cage. Doesn't really matter where he's from. What about the crowd? At the end of the day, you're still just looking to punch him and get that stoppage.
Yeah, exactly. It's like at the end of the day, the last thing on your mind is the crowd and what the crowd are thinking and what the crowd is saying, or who they're supporting, because you're about to fight another man. It's like
Yeah.
I'm just concentrating on my opponent and concentrating on my game plan and getting the job done at the end of the day.
And what's your opinion on the Glasgow crowd? Did you watch the last Cade Warriors Glasgow, or are you just coming in just waiting to experience it?
No, yeah, I watched the last Glasgow Cage Warriors card definitely, and they seemed up for it, to put it that way.
It does seem like a great crowd. I was there last time, great atmosphere, buzz about the
Yeah.
place, and obviously it should be even bigger this time with the prize fighter tournament coming to Glasgow, and as well
Oh
as
yeah,
the
yeah, of course.
and what also got announced on Friday, George Hardwick will also defend his lightweight title. Do you feel like with all these things coming to this Glasgow card, it could make it the card of the year?
100%, yeah, especially with the addition of George Hardwick as well. 'Cause he's a real big fighter. Um, so that'll be a huge fight, and the prize fight as well, like you said. So it's like there's a few things going on there. So I think, yeah, that this could be a real big card.
And in the last Cage Wars event, it was the Bantamweight Prize Fighter Tournament. How disappointed were you not to take part in it?
I was disappointed. Obviously, I would have loved that opportunity to fight for the money, but it is what it is. I'm just happy to stay active and
Yeah.
be fit and ready to just take 3 or 4 fights a year and just like and essentially not be injured. I've had so much time out being injured over the years. I just appreciate being able to take fights. So like ideally, I would have liked to be in that tournament, but it is what it is. I just get on with it, and I'm a year or 2 weeks out from another fight, so happy days.
And obviously, the winner of that Prize Fighter Tournament was Shirzad. You've obviously fought him, and he is getting that title shot against Gittins, another person you have fought. Who was the tougher opponent? I know when you fought Gittins, it was at featherweight, but who do you feel is going to be able to get the victory in that fight?
I think Gittins will win that fight. I do. I think his defensive wrestling is actually really good. underrated actually, and um, I think he'd be too desperate for the takedown. So I think Gittins will win that fight.
And how do you feel like you've improved since your fight with Gittins?
Oh, I've definitely improved so much. Just the gas tank for starters, like I used to get a bit tired. Now I just feel like I can just go all day. I can do 5, 10 rounds, whatever. Um, just mentally, I just believe myself a lot more now. Do you mean there's no doubt?
Yeah.
I believe I deserve to be in there with these boys, and more than anything mentally, but as well as physically, I've improved everywhere really.
And if you get this win, that will be 2 wins in a row. How many more fights do you think you need to take before that's you got your title shot opportunity?
I think three good wins, including this one. If we get a couple of finishes, 3 good wins. Sorry, yeah, 3 good wins with a couple of finishes chucked in there. I think I'll be definitely be back in the mix.
And do you feel like obviously it doesn't phase you going into enemy territory and getting the wins, but do you feel like that makes the win even more bigger than what just a normal win would do?
Yeah, definitely. Um, the, I think yeah, just going into enemy territory, it, it just puts more. It just seems like there's more on the line. Like there is something to having the benefit of being at home, and so when you do go fight away and you get that W and you silence the crowd, I do think there is a bit more on that win then,
And
definitely.
and the last time Cave Wars came to Wales, it was early 2023. Sadly, it haven't came to Wales this year, but if it comes to Wales next year in 2025, are you looking to get onto that card?
Oh, 100%, yeah. If I can get, if I, yeah, 100%, yeah, get on that car. That would be absolutely ideal. Save me spending 3 nights away from the family as well. I can literally just wake up in my own bed, drive to the venue. That's what, I'm only about half hour, 45 minutes from Cardiff, so it was ideal for me, and
And
obviously having the home crowd advantage as well.
and how big is Welsh MMA just now? Obviously, you have Mason Jones who put on that spectacular performance in
Mhm.
Manchester. Do you, do you feel like if he does stick around in Cage Warriors, that could be the one that he could bring the Cage Warriors to Wales?
Yeah, 100%. Mason's such a big name, and he's just out there just taking heads at the minute. Nobody can handle him in Cage Warriors at the moment. So like, yeah, a big card with Mason Jones headline, and why wouldn't it be in Cardiff?
Exactly.
Or Wales, anywhere in Wales, but
And obviously, at the start of your career, as your amateur career, you were at a lightweight. You then moved to featherweight, and now you're at bantamweight. Do you feel like
yeah,
bantamweight is the weight for you?
yeah, 100%. I was quite a small lightweight amateur. Do you know what I mean I didn't really have to work hard to make lightweight, and then featherweight. It was kind of like a stepping stone, really. I had a couple of fights. I think I had 3 or 4 fights at featherweight, and then I was always planning on going to bantamweight. It was just getting used to the cutting down and the depletion of fight week and stuff like that. But I've got it down to a T now, and I think that's definitely the place for me.
And you are undefeated as an amateur. I think you were 6 wins, 0 defeats. Did you feel like when you were making that switch from that amateur career to that professional career, you were kind of putting like a reset on your career? Because obviously you are going back to 0-0. Or do you feel like that amateur career set you up for that pro career?
Yeah, it definitely does set you up. And I was actually, I think on like shoot like the tap all just I'm 6-0, but I was 10-0 as an amateur. Just for some reason some of the fights haven't been logged. But again, I wish I did 20 fights, because like it's such a level up going to pro. So it's like the amateur game does prepare you, but then it's just like you go into the pro game and everyone is good. Like, you can't have an off day, and you're always in 50-50 fights. Like, it's rare you fighting a bum these days. Like, everyone's so good, and it's
Yeah.
just like, I just wish I had I wish I had 20 odd fights, 30 fights, even.
And what was it that got you thinking, I'm ready for that pro scene? Did you just feel it was ready, or did your coaches just talk to you and be like, we think you're ready for this pro game, let's get you onto the card?
Yeah, I think like I said, I was 10-0. My last 2 opponents were both 10-1, so I beat beat two boys who separate boys who they were both 10-1. So I beat two good boys to unshot my amateur career, and then we were trying to find another fight, and the promoter couldn't find the fight. But then, sorry mate,
No, it's fine.
the promoter couldn't find the fight. Then my coach kind of said, we can't really find you an amateur fight. Do you want to go pro? And then we had a little bit of a chat, and we kind of went through. There was nothing really about. And at that time, the eye maths weren't really that big.
Yeah.
So that wasn't really much of an option either. Because I looking back at those, I would have loved to get and have a go over through the IMAth competitions, but they weren't really big at the time. So I just ended up going pro then.
And how much nowadays do you feel like those iMath competitions help you progress in your game?
Oh, they are amazing. I think to help you progress, just because there's a lot of eyes on the competition, obviously, and if you win the worlds, you're like almost guaranteed a good contract with a good promotion, but also just the fact of how many fights you can get in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, you might have a couple of fights on some smaller shows in between, and you might go out to like the Europeans, have three or four fights, another couple of fights in between, and then go to the Worlds, have another three or four fights, and all of a sudden you've got 20, 30 fights, I
Yeah.
just think it's just um, the opportunity to get so much more experience and against different nationalities as well.
And this is your ninth fight with Cage Warriors. How have they treated you throughout your whole career?
Yeah, great. Can't fault them really. Always me active, always offer me fair and good fights. I never feel like they're trying to tack me up or anything. And like I said, I just appreciate the fact that they allow me to stay active.
And after that fight against Taka, when was it that they approached you and were like, "We've got this card in Glasgow in September. Let's get you on it."
Yeah, basically, because I was obviously pushing for the prize fight there, and they kind of said, "Look, sorry about that."
That's completely fine.
Yeah, so I was pushing for the prize fight there, and they kind of said, "Look, it's already filled. We apologize for that, but we do have space. We're trying to match Kia Harvey for the Glasgow card. You want it?" I was like, "Yeah, happy days. That's a great substitute, I think."
That sounds great. And how do you feel like being part of Cage Warriors is to getting that next step? Obviously, Cage Warriors have got a great reputation of sending fighters to that UFC. Do you feel like they are that's one of the reasons a lot of fighters come here?
Oh, 100%, 100%, because they are known and they do kind of promote themselves as a kind of feeder to the UFC. They
Yeah.
have a bit of a they have a count of how many fighters they've sent and etc. But yeah, I think that is a big pull for them because you probably could go elsewhere and get more money, but then you kind of weigh up the possibility of getting fed to like the contenders or the Ultimate Fighter or straight to the UFC, which tends to happen more through Cage Warriors. So yeah, definitely.
And do you feel like part of that is due to being on that UFC Fight Pass? You do have that exposure just a little bit more.
Yeah, it's definitely going to help just because of the link through the UFC Fight Pass. Um, and they just see they seem to have a good relationship with the UFC as well, from what I can see.
And if you are able to get the victory on September 7th and all goes well, barring any injuries, when are you looking to get back on the are you looking to get back on before the end of the year, or do you think it'll be early 2025?
Ideally, obviously, like you said, no injuries, no niggles. I'd like to get one more in this year because there's been I wanted to get out earlier before this fight, but this has been pushed back a bit. So I wouldn't mind going straight into another camp after this fight and then squeezing another one in before the end of the year, definitely.
And is there any event that you are targeting? I think Cage Warriors are coming back to London in I think it's November, and also they're going to Newcastle, and then they have San Diego in December. Any event you would particularly want to get part of?
Yeah, London, November sounds good, to be honest with you, timing wise. And it's like a nice, easy run up the M4 for us as well.
Well, that sounds great. Thank you for coming on. I wish you the best of luck for your upcoming fight, and I know you'll be able to put on a fantastic performance.
Legend, nice one, brother.
I'll give you the final word. Anything you're wanting to say, anyone you're wanting to shout out.
Just big thanks to all my teams, coaches, everyone who's helped me for this camp. And I'm looking forward to putting on a good show on September 7th.
That sounds great. If you are in the Glasgow area on the 7th of September, make sure you get out to the Braehead Arena. Cage Warriors put on fantastic shows. It'll be a great night. If not, make sure to catch it onto the UFC Fight Pass. It is going to be an event you do not want to miss.